Chapter 32. In January, rationing began. It was a way of sharing out what food there was so that rich people, like Susan, couldn't go hogging it and leaving poor people to starve. Rationing meant that there might not be any butter or meat in the shops, and that there was, you better get in queue for it fast before it sold out. We all had ration books that said how much food we were allowed. It made Jamie nervous. Me too. Susan had always given us plenty of food, but we knew that was because she was rich, no matter what she said. I'd gotten used to eating regular. We tried eating less. The first time Jamie asked to be excused before he finished his dinner, Susan felt his forehead. "Are you sick?" she asked. He shook his head. "Then eat. I know you can't be full." "I'll save it for tomorrow." I pushed my plate away. "Me too." Susan told us firmly that we were not to save our dinners. She said rationing meant that we would have to eat different kinds of foods. More vegetables, less meat, less butter and sweets. It did not mean that there would not be enough food. There would always be enough food. She would personally see that we always had enough to eat. "Even if you have to get a job?" I asked her. "Yes," she said firmly, "even if I have to char." Chars were the lowest kind of cleaning lady. Some of the older ladies on our lane back home were chars. "Why?" I asked. She looked at me, blank. "Why? You didn't want us. You don't even like us." Jamie held perfectly still. Susan sipped her tea the way she always did when she was stalling. "Of course I like you," she said. Don't I act as though I like you?" I shrugged. "I never wanted children," she continued, "because you can't have children without being married. And I never wanted to be married. When I shared this home with Becky, that was the happiest I'd ever been. I wouldn't have traded that for anything, even children. Not even children. I was so sad the day you came, but it wasn't about you. I was just sad. I didn't think I could take good care of you. I didn't think I could take good care of any children." "You didn't want to," I said, "especially us." Susan said, "Ada, what's this really about? The better you get, the worse you seem." I shrugged, angry. I was scared. I was scary. It was scary how angry I felt inside. At Susan for being temporary, at Mom for not caring about us, at Fred for wearing the scarf I had to knit him from his wife's wool every day, as though it was something special, when I could see myself how I dropped some stitches and picked up others, so that the scarf was full of holes. At Maggie for loaning me her copy of Alice's Adventures looking through the looking glass, when I told her how much I liked Alice in Wonderland. As though books were something you could just give out, like yesterday's newspapers, as though I would be able to sit down and read it easily as she would. As though the letter I sent her when she went back to school, which took me hours and was full of scratches and misspellings, was anything at all like the letter back to me, written in ink with curvy handwriting. At the war for taking us away, and Mom before she realized she loved us. At myself for being so glad to go. "Ada," Susan spoke slowly and clearly. "Right now you are here. I'm not sending you or Jamie anywhere. You will both stay here. I'll take care of you. You will have enough to eat. You're learning to read and write, and next year you'll go to school. We will get your mother's permission, and as soon as we do, we will get the operation to fix your foot. All will be well. Relax." When she started to speak, I almost went away to the place in my head where I didn't feel anything. But Susan tapped my arm, keeping me with her, and she put her hand lightly around my wrist while she spoke. I pulled my hand away, but I stayed where I could hear her. That's how I heard the words, "an operation to fix your foot." Fix my foot? What on earth did she mean? 3 days later, I rode Butter to the top of the hill. I halted where we could see the sea, dark and violent and thrashing, where the wind whipped Butter's mane against my bad foot, held as it was by the crook of the side saddle. The wind blew the wisps of hair around my face and made tears come to my eyes, and I could feel its coldness even through my warm coat and hat and mittens. No boats anywhere, no signs of spies, new towers built near the beach, and more barbed wire, and what looked like the soldiers marching along the ocean's edge. Our soldiers, if it were the Germans invading, the church bells would have rung. I rode slowly down the hill, through the village. The butcher standing in the shop nodded his head to me. One of the women I passed smiled. Another waved. They saw me ride by every day. If they thought I should be locked up, at least they didn't say so. They didn't look disgusted by me. At home I untacked Butter and rubbed him dry. I fed him and combed out his tangled mane. I cleaned the saddle and bridle and put them neatly away. I took my time. Then I went to the house where Susan was and asked, "What does the word operation mean?" Chapter 33.